Let's bring you up to date on a CBC News Marketplace investigation into Canada's shipping garbage overseas to Malaysia and to the Philippines. Right now, a ship loaded with trash is sailing from the Philippines to Vancouver. The same garbage on board that nearly sank diplomatic relations between Ottawa and the Philippines government. We have new video into us this morning showing the ship and the dozens of containers of made-in-Canada garbage leaving Subic Bay. It had been there for years, mislabeled as plastics for recycling. The ship is expected to arrive in Vancouver by the end of the month. Environmentalists, both in the Philippines and in Canada, are calling this a victory in the fight to keep industrialized companies from dumping their trash in the developing world. The federal government is paying more than $1 million to ship it back to Canada. But as Catherine Tunney tells us this morning, it's still unclear who should ultimately cover that cost.
Part of the solution around this is making sure, one, we hold the companies responsible if they're illegally exporting waste to other countries, but also that we have a solution here to deal with our plastic pollution, our waste.
Well, that's easier said than done, partly because the company that sent the garbage over in the first place, Chronic Inc., is no longer operating. And most people who've been following the file say that, yes, the company should be to blame, that they should be brought to court for what they've done. But they also point to international conventions that the government broke that govern this very thing, this idea of shipping your waste to other countries.
I think the government is contributing to the confusion because it's trying to avoid its responsibility. And so it has made a lot of statements which imply that the responsibility lies on the company. Obviously, the company acted wrongly, but UN conventions apply to governments of countries. They do not apply to corporations.
Now, the NDP argues that in order to prevent these kind of legal fights from happening in the future, Canada needs to stop exporting our waste and our recyclables, full stop.
We know what happens when companies get caught doing things illegal. They go bankrupt. There's no one to go after. And guess who's left picking up the tab? And that's the Canadian taxpayer.
The minister says more details on a waste strategy plan will be coming soon. Catherine Tunney, CBC News, Ottawa.